Oh,
As soon as I pressed the go live button. What, did you snort or something into the mic? I didn't hear it. You sniffed?
my nose. I'm so sorry.
Here we go. Welcome everyone to the Goblins live show. Sorry, yeah, a bit of a random start there. Wife doing her usual random wifey things. Oops. I'm beating the table up as well. Well, we've got a pretty awesome show lined up for you today where we're going to be discussing some car brands that have made motorcycles in the past. And we've also got a couple of other topics as well today that we're going to go through. I'm going to leave those till after the intro though, so people get a bit wowed by it.
Good idea.
It's nothing that interesting really. Yeah.
I think it is.
No, it's pretty cool. Well, at least one of the bits we got lined up is pretty cool, I think. But anyway, right, are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's roll that intro. Look at that.
My nose on it.
How are we doing, wifey?
I got sniffles.
You got sniffles?
I got sniffles.
COVID.
No, it's not.
Have we been up to anything interesting this week?
Have we?
I don't know.
I feel like you're going to say something.
Well, I was gonna. So, you know, you got me onto that show Afterlife.
Oh, yeah.
A show called Afterlife on Netflix. It's a Ricky Gervais show, and I just finished watching season 1. Man, that show throws you in a loop, doesn't it? Because like the first 4 episodes are really depressing, and then all of a sudden it does a complete U-turn, and it makes you feel really, really good. It's weird.
The last season is going to mess you up.
Oh God! So
it
yeah,
really threw me.
Just started on season 2, and yeah, it's quite funny, but it's
Dark.
very dark and very serious.
Super dark.
Like it's I mean, funnily enough, because we did our show on mental health last week, I thought it was quite an interesting kind of show to mention, just because of what we were discussing last week, and yeah, just it's just about a guy who suffers with depression after his wife dies, isn't it, from cancer, and it's just about how he tries to survive in a sense, but also navigate this new world that he lives in, without his wife. And yeah, it's good, but yeah, if you do watch it, I'd recommend watching it. But if you do, yeah, it's pretty dark the first few episodes, at least in season 1 anyway. But
Season 3, because Ricky Gervais only ever he has a 2-season rule. He likes 2 seasons, but the 3rd season, he said he just felt like it needed finishing, and it's really good, but I bawled my eyes out towards the end, because there's an episode and something happens, and like my breath like caught, and I was like, oh, my gosh.
I kind of felt like that for the opposite reason at the end of season 1, where, you know, he just starts being nice to everyone. And he's an absolute dick the entire season, and then all of a sudden in the last episode he's like really nice to everyone.
If that surprised you, the last episode of season 3 is yeah, but
yeah.
No, it's good. Definitely worth a watch. I mean, if you don't like swearing, don't watch it.
There are some funny scenes though.
Because you're in for a treat in the third season.
With
really
the
are.
swearing, yeah.
But he uses all the
scenes.
swear words. Nothing's held back whatsoever. So yeah.
I love his dad as well. His dad's brilliant.
Yeah.
He's a funny guy. Anyway, yeah, that's my highlight of this week. I don't think there's anything else really that I've got going on.
No, the only thing that has changed from last week to this week is I take the dog out every lunchtime, and it really clears my mind from morning to afternoon. That's the only thing. But
I wish you guys could actually see the way how the dog looks right now, because his paws are kind of out straight. Like, it's really funny.
Yeah, no, that's my only change.
Yeah, because we used to take him out maybe once a week or so, and yeah, so you've made it a bit more of a routine now.
That sounds really awful, but one, he's a pug and he likes to sleep, and two, he has a hip problem, so you have to be really careful how much we walk him.
He's quite a homely dog, isn't he?
If it's when you get to the end of his walk, he pulls you home. He's not the sort of dog that wants to stay in the park. He really does want to. Oops. Sorry. Saturday. He really wants to pull you home. When he knows you're near home, he wants to take you home.
Yeah.
So, and the rain and the snow, does not like those. His tail turns up. I think it's a bit sensitive. Like, he doesn't like it dripping.
Yeah.
So
He's a very, very particular dog, aren't you?
He's a lap dog, isn't he?
Yeah. No, not really. He's not that lazy.
No, as soon as the blanket comes out, he's there.
Oh, yeah, he's
there for a cuddle.
Yeah.
So, right, hopefully he won't fall off.
Right, okay, so let's have a look here. Let's talk about the we're gonna leave the motorcycle part a little bit later. So the car brands that make random car brands, it seems, that make motorcycles or have made motorcycles. We'll leave that to later on in the show. Let's talk about how, because you've got a couple of interesting articles that you'd like to kind of share with everyone. I mean, the very first thing I kind of want to go over is this whole issue around cyclists with the new highway code rules.
Yeah.
And how some have kind of taken the rules a bit too literally and abusing, teasing drivers.
Yeah. So
for doing what the what the highway code now says.
So I read an article which was about cyclists and the highway code, and in Sheffield, which is from my understanding, a very small town. So the highway code basically says where need be on busy roads, ride in two to prevent overtaking or something to that effect. Now, Sheffield's a very, very tiny town, and apparently cyclists in up to groups of 8 were cycling in such a way that motorcyclists weren't able... Sorry.
Drivers,
weren't able to overtake them, and apparently this went on for 8 miles. And they were saying that the cyclists were turning around and laughing at the car drivers. And it's just now gone from one extreme to the other.
Yeah. Yeah, and as well, there was it was just one of those articles that showed up on my phone from Google where the title of the article was "The new highway code changes are not an excuse for pedestrians to just be stupid and walk out in front of cars and stuff." And it's like, if you have to write an article about that, then you know that's what people are going to do. Yeah. And it's exactly the same with the cyclists just taking the piss, really. And
I saw one that said that the hierarchy on the road has changed. Now it goes pedestrians, cyclists, horse riders, motorcyclists, car drivers. And they said that's now the hierarchy of the road.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just, I'm sure it will all settle down. You know,
or get revoked.
In the next few months, it will settle down and people will start kind of, getting used to it, and cyclists won't be such dicks about it. I mean, to be fair, if they are just following the rules as they're supposed to, then you can't really say anything, can you?
No, but the one in Sheffield, their argument was it's not a busy town, so there was no need for them to ride in twos. And prevent...
I mean, that's the other stupid thing, isn't it? Is why are cyclists including the highway code when they don't have to do a driving test? They don't have to do any kind of test or whatever. They don't have to know any of the highway code if they don't want to. And I mean, yeah, okay, a load of cyclists drive, of course they do. But it does kind of beg the question why they're so kind of heavily involved in the highway code. And same with pedestrians as well. Like, if drivers are the ones that are responsible for people's safety, then it's supposed to be drivers that are meant to know the highway code. So that kind of makes sense. But when you're putting rules in that confuse people and people don't know exactly where they stand on a certain thing, especially when people have been doing the same old things day in, day out. You know, you go to work every single day, you go to the office, you come back home and you do the same things. You're not necessarily going to realize, oh, I shouldn't be overtaking this cyclist now or something like that. So it's a bit, I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I think if they made cyclists do like some kind of test to get some kind of license or something, it would be a bit fairer.
The only thing, and this would happen in middle school in the UK, is the cycling proficiency.
Yeah.
I didn't do that because my house was out of the catchment area to my school. So I think it was that they wouldn't let me do it or something. So I have no cycling proficiency apparently.
Yeah, I know. But it wouldn't have to be something that organised. You know? I mean, it could be something as straightforward as like a CBT based thing. I don't know. I can't remember because I did my cycling proficiency test God knows how many years ago.
You would have been in about year 7.
And I honestly don't remember them going over highway code or anything like that when I did it.
Do you know what?
So
you are silly for doing your cycling proficiency, because I got to stay in class with the 3 other people who didn't do it. I don't know if they didn't have bikes or whatever. And I watched movies and made peppermint creams, and I had a whale of a time.
Fair play.
Yeah. It's not all cracked up to be group activities. It's really not.
But yeah, it is one of those very frustrating things. And luckily I haven't encountered it around here yet with, you know, cyclists being overly zealous on the roads, unreasonable. I mean, the thing is, if I'm a cyclist, I think to myself, and I actually do this, if I ever ride a bicycle, I haven't ridden a bicycle in a long time, but when I was a teenager, I used to ride bicycles all the time. I would go on the road where there was no cars, and then I'd go on the pavement if there were cars approaching, literally just for my own safety, because I know that if I'm on the pavement, no car is going to get anywhere close to me unless they spin out or something.
Target you.
Yeah. But yeah, if you put yourself on the road, you're putting yourself in harm's way, and that's the kind of attitude that I had when I was younger. And I kind of still have the same attitude now on a motorcycle as well. You know, the best place I can put myself on the road that makes me the safest is where I'm going to be. But because you can imagine, can't you, like we were saying about Sheffield and the cyclists riding 2x2, you know, that they are frustrating drivers behind them, and you don't know who's behind you, so they might try a stupid maneuver to overtake them, and then who ends up getting hurt? It's going to be the cyclist. Yeah. So I don't know. Like, if that was me, and I knew that I was holding up a load of cars behind me, cars are faster than me, whatever, there's nothing I can do about that. Just pull over to the pavement for a little bit, let the cars go past. I mean, I maybe that's not a practical idea in a bigger, more populated area. I don't know. Like, if you're in the centre of London or something, maybe that wouldn't work. But then again, places like London, bigger cities, have got designated cycle lanes, haven't they, as well, which they don't have around here, around the West Midlands. Not really, anyway.
Oh, gosh. And
where they do put cycle lanes in, they're in stupid places.
Yeah, we could talk all day about silly things that cyclists do, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't know. It's look, I mean, cyclists have a right to use the road as well as anyone else, as pedestrians and things like that. But it's a bit I don't know where the balance is between priorities and you know, even just common sense, because some roads, and I say some, I mean a lot of roads, simply don't have the capacity for cyclists. And I know that's something they're trying to promote a lot in London and big cities, is riding bicycles. But I don't know. Either around here, they either don't have the room or they don't have the funding to build better infrastructure. I don't know. It's weird. Very, very weird. But anyway, yeah, let us know your thoughts about cyclists and whether or not they're affecting you in the chat or in the comments if you're watching this video after the fact. What's the next topic? What have we got next?
Hold on, I'm being attacked by the dog.
Let's have a look. Right, well, we've got... let's see here. Do you want to go over the both the topics that we've got, or
Yeah.
do you think we've got time?
I'll speak really quickly.
Okay. Right, so let's talk about Kimi Raikkonen.
Yes. So,
For those of you who don't... I'm sure that you all know who Kimi Raikkonen is. He's an ex-Formula 1 race driver. Bit of a badass. He's a bit of a rebellious kind of character in the F1 scene.
Only retired in 2021.
Very recently, yeah.
Really recently.
Yeah.
So, the reason we're talking about him, is that he's now Kawasaki's MXGP team boss. And the tagline on this article is, "Leave him alone, he knows what he's doing." So, yeah, basically, he's Finnish, and he's competed for, is it Sauber, S-A-U-B-E-R? Yeah. McLaren, Ferrari, Lotus, and Alfa Romeo. And he remains Ferrari's last title-winning pilot. So he's now the Kawasaki MXGP factory squad boss, taking the role on into the 2022 season. I think he's taking it quite seriously, which is obviously quite a good thing.
Do you want to bring up your laptop on here?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Show a nice picture of our boys in green.
There we go.
There we go. So yeah, I just thought it was a really interesting thing that he's gone from Formula 1 into sport bikes.
He's got racing in his blood. And I mean that in the sense that he hasn't just done Formula 1, he's also done rally. He also left Formula 1 for 2 or 3 seasons or so, maybe longer than that, to do rally. And now that he's retired, he's doing more racing stuff. But I'm surprised it's not in Formula 1. I'm surprised it's in motorcycles. I don't know. Maybe he's a big motorcycle guy.
Maybe.
But yeah, I thought it was quite crazy, really. An F1 driver being the team boss of a racing team. I thought it was very interesting.
A very prestigious F1 driver.
And that's the thing, is he's going to be a bit of a poster boy, isn't he? Probably for the brand.
The thing is, if for me personally, if someone was like, Lewis Hamilton's doing it, I'd be like, oh, what a joke. Like, really? Whereas Raikkonen for me is a bit more like when David Coulthard went into presenting, that for me was a logical step. Like, he presented the F1, that was fine. And for Raikkonen, knowing his background, that makes sense. But Lewis Hamilton, for me, he's a yacht salesman now, you know? That's what he'd go on to in my head.
Or could you imagine Sebastian Vettel being a motorcycle race boss, race team boss? I don't know. No. I don't know if I could imagine him. To be fair though, when you look at him, I can't imagine him being one of the world's best Formula 1 drivers either.
No.
He's just got one of those faces.
Yeah. Okay.
You look like he should be an accountant.
Well, maybe that's going to be him next. But yeah.
Sorry, Sebastian Vettel. Sorry, I'm not trying to be mean.
Not to his face, anyway. No. But yeah, for me that makes sense, knowing his background and everything. Don't you look happy in that picture?
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting career move, I think.
It's no secret that motocross has been my great passion for many years.
Motocross?
This team isn't what you'd call my hobby. We take it far too seriously for that.
Wow. So he must be a motorcycle guy through and through as well.
He's coming with experience and, what a great brand to go into.
Yeah, he's a proper nutcase. Well, I say nutcase, very, very into his motors, clearly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very, very interesting. And who knows? We'll see how he does. I don't know how much influence he's going to have in the team per se. So,
sure.
I suppose it remains to be seen in the coming seasons, doesn't it?
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Coming race seasons. But right, let's talk about the last topic that we've got here before we go on to the main topic of today's video.
So,
do you want to head this one?
Yeah, so this is something that's happening actually in Denmark, and I just thought it was really, really interesting. So at the moment, going forward from the end of last year, maybe the beginning of last year, if you ride or drive like a madman, mad woman, mad person, and you get your vehicle confiscated, it then gets auctioned off to the highest bidder. Okay, so there's an example here. A man just bought a Lamborghini Hurricane in Germany for $310,000. He then, on his way to Norway from the dealership, got caught by the police. His car got confiscated, and then I assume it went on to be sold, because he was doing 140 miles per hour, which is 236 kilometers, in an 81 mile per hour zone, so 130. He wasn't even doing like 10 over the speed limit. He was going quite a bit over.
To be fair, though, if if I got a Lamborghini Hurricane, I would probably be trying the same thing the very first day I got it too.
So in the first 6 months, the police have seized 510 vehicles with 623 cases filed. I think 508, if I'm reading this correctly, 586 of those cases were insane driving. You won't get a warning. There's no impound lot. It says if your name's on the papers, rental, or your friend's bike, it doesn't matter, because the Danish authorities will seize it and they'll send it straight to auction. There's no sort of speed awareness course or anything like that. You just lose it. It's gone. And I just thought that was...
that's not how it works over here. You can't get your car confiscated away from you unless it's illegal to be driving it or riding on in that vehicle.
But it's also, if you've leased the car, it doesn't matter. The car gets taken to auction. It doesn't go back to the people who've leased it to you.
Wow.
Yeah, and they go on to involuntary manslaughter and all that sort of thing. So I won't go into that. But I just thought it was really interesting. They've gone literally from you'll get a warning, it's changed, to you're going to lose it. Like there's no second chance for you. So driving is no longer fun in Denmark, is what that is saying.
I mean, auctioning things off does happen over here as well, auctioning off vehicles, but
not straight away.
Not for speeding offences, not for driving offences. It's usually for things like if the vehicle's been stolen and no one's claimed it, repossession, things like that. That's what they usually do here. But I mean, to take away a Lambo
straight away
and auction it without, I mean, there must have been some complaints, something from these people that are having their cars and bikes taken away from them.
Don't know.
Has to be. I mean, I do find it very, very funny though how hardline they seem to be with this. It's like a no nonsense approach to.
Yeah.
Well,
apparently they are seizing up to 3 vehicles per day.
Jesus, 3 vehicles a day.
A day.
Well, that's going to make the police a lot of money, isn't it?
And very unpopular.
Not to mention the government.
As
well.
And that's actually
Danish
in their
government.
highway code type blubber.
Wow. Well, I mean, if you need any incentives to not be stupid,
or just don't go to Denmark.
Right? Yeah. Don't go Denmark.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting, so I just thought I'd share that.
Yeah, that is quite funny. But yeah, I do kind of feel sorry for the people that have their prides and joys taken away from them, because I mean these people are more than likely going to be enthusiasts, aren't they? Because let's be honest, people that drive and ride fairly quickly are going to be the ones that are probably most passionate about said vehicle.
Yeah. I wonder how long it took him to save for his Lamborghini Hurricane. That's sad.
I don't know. If he's a rich guy or a rich gal, I suppose it doesn't matter that much. But yeah, they're not cheap cars. What, 300? How much did you say? 300 grand?
310,000 US
USD. Yeah, that's a ton of money.
That is a fair chunk of change. Oops.
Yeah. That's that's kind of ridiculous. But there you go.
And that's all for me. This has been News Round.
I mean, I think we should send Jeremy Clarkson down there
Oh my gosh, yes.
to Denmark in a Ferrari or something, and see if he can get his car taken away and auctioned off. That would be an amazing Grand Tour episode.
If they sent James May, James would have no chance, would he?
Yeah,
Captain
so the challenge would be which one of them can get their car taken away and auctioned off first.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's pretty brutal.
And we know that Mr. Clarkson likes Lamborghini to the point his tractor is Lamborghini.
Yeah.
So, my God, tractor racing.
The super tractor.
Yes.
I did a thing.
Season 2 soon. Season 2.
Yeah, season 2 soon of Clarkson's Farm. Yeah.
We digress.
That's going to be funny, but yeah. Anyway, right, let's move on to some very, very interesting motorcycles from brands that you've more than likely heard of, but never ever associated them with motorcycles. So, obviously, there are a few car brands that make bikes. So you've got BMW, Honda, Suzuki. I can't think of any others at the moment. Harley Davidson, no. Cowie, no. KTM, no. Don't know. There's very few manufacturers that make both cars and motorcycles. But I've got a list here of 5 bikes that are made by car manufacturers you never would have thought.
Okay.
So let's have a look at the very first one that we've got here. Here we go. Lotus made a motorcycle.
Ooh.
The C01. Now, bearing in mind that a lot of these are limited edition motorcycles, so they're not like
readily available.
Yeah, they it'd be difficult to call them production motorcycles as well, even though they were manufactured, produced, and sold to people. You know, it's not like mass production bikes.
I have
Peugeot as well, of course. As another brand, because they make scooters, don't they?
Yeah.
Peugeot and cars. But sorry, yeah, go on.
I have an opinion.
Yes.
I like the colour scheme because it's classic Lotus. The yellow grille reminds me of the Caterham 7 grille on the front, which my dad used to have one, so close to my heart. But what is that? It's horrible. It's kind of like, I don't know, like a really old style front, but with like Harley long spokes.
I'll explain the history of this bike.
Okay.
And you might start to understand why it looks the way it does. So the C01 apparently surfaced in 2014, and it was designed or styled by a designer from Bugatti. And I can kind of see the influence there, the Bugatti influence. It was built in Germany by a racing car manufacturer. I don't know who they are. I've never heard of them before, but Kodewa. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced properly. But yeah, and then licensed to Lotus. So the production was 100 of these, 100 motorcycles, and each of them cost £70,000. But they were tailored to the buyers. So they did some tinkering with either the paint, with the seating,
so
whatever.
So they're bespoke to a level.
They are kind of they're almost bespoke.
Okay.
Now it has an 1195cc V-twin producing 175 horsepower, and apparently it's wrapped in a carbon fiber shell. You can't really tell because of the color scheme that they've got on there, but I imagine it's pretty lightweight. But yeah, so there you go. Lotus, very, very famous British racing car brand, made a motorcycle, which I thought was pretty damn interesting.
Okay.
Then moving on from that, this one is certainly a bike that a lot of you have heard of. It's perhaps one of the most famous kind of unknown motorcycles made by a car brand there is.
Righto.
Let's have a look here. See if I can move it over. That's the Dodge Tomahawk. So, have you seen this bike before?
No, but it looks like the handle of a lightsaber.
Yeah, I see where you're going with that. So, Dodge decided to put a V10 engine from the Dodge Viper into this bike. V10 engine. So, it's an 8-litre V10. So, 8,300cc to be precise. It's absolutely insane. Manufactured in 2003. Well, not manufactured in 2003, but there was only... how many were built? I think it was 9.
That really is limited, isn't it?
Maybe it says in this article, actually. Made for 4 years. Can I read that? Yeah. 9 units were made over 4 years.
Between 2003 and 2006.
Yeah. So again, this is the kind of motorcycle that you would order if you were extremely rich and you wanted a motorcycle that just blew everyone away.
You'd have to be a quirky sort of person to have that, I think.
Well, when you think about Dodge Viper, you think about the amount of horsepower it has. Well, this thing has got 500 brake horsepower and 525 foot-pounds of torque. I'm not sure exactly what that is in Newton meters, but I don't know. It's got to be coming up to, 1,000?
Is that 2 wheels on
Maybe?
the front? Am I seeing things?
Yep, it's 2 wheels. 2 wheels on the front, 2 wheels on the back.
And it's still a motorcycle, though it's got 4 wheels.
Well, and it's self-balancing as well. But it is apparently a motorcycle.
So it's a really thin car without a roof.
With a car's engine in it, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Apparently so. It's one of the most famous kind of quirky motorcycles out there because it's boasted as being the most powerful motorcycle ever made.
But it's basically a car.
Basically.
It
Just
doesn't
going to
count
turn
then.
off this little heater down here because I'm getting a bit warm. So yeah, Dodge Tomahawk, very, very weird looking bike, and basically the engine is the chassis, it seems. The engine is the frame. At least that's what it looks like. But
I'm not convinced by it.
I don't know. Apparently, no one had ever exceeded 100 miles an hour on this bike when they were developing it.
Because they didn't want to or because they couldn't?
Not sure. I mean, because when you look at it, I imagine it's not going to handle very well. And obviously you can't lean it into corners. You have to physically turn the handlebars. I don't know, or maybe you could lean it. But look at the tyres themselves as well are also kind of like car tyres in a sense.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the long sloping walls of a motorcycle tyre either. So
if when they made Back to the Future, they wanted to make a futuristic bike, they would have made that.
Yeah.
See, it's unknown if it's really a car or a motorcycle.
Well, there you go.
It's nothing short of breathtaking. No, I don't agree with that. But I don't like it. That's just my opinion. I don't like it. I think it looks weird.
Well, and that's another thing as well. It's not a road legal bike, motorcycle, car thing. Abomination.
Yeah, it's a lightsaber that moves. That's what it is to me.
A lightsaber that moves
Yeah.
very, very fast.
Yeah. Honestly, I think the headlight should be blue and then it's like finish the illusion, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And it's one of those motorcycles that can do a ridiculous speed in first gear as well. I can't remember exactly what the spec sheet says on that, but yeah, it's just a ridiculous motorcycle. It was never ever meant for the mass market ever. It was just like Dodge just flexing.
it's a showroom piece. That's like a.
Yeah.
It's like you've got your house and you go down to your basement and you've got your 10,000 cars there and you go, oh, here's my Dodge motorbike.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, spinning round one of those like revolver things.
Yeah.
Yeah, revolving things.
All right, so this next one is perhaps one of the most interesting bikes here, and it's the one that we've got on the thumbnail as well. And it's the Ferrari motorcycle.
So I'm trying to make it out.
It's called a Ferrari 900.
Okay, I have thoughts.
Go on then.
I don't mean to be rude, but what's going on at the front? Because
let's have a look. This site here's got some more pictures. Let's have a look.
Because it looks really strange where there's just like a gap. It's quite exposed.
Yeah, so
from the side it looks weirder than it does from the front. From the front it makes sense.
It's got a lot of Cafe Racer vibes. So Cafe Racer is like a classic looking motorcycle race bike. It's like a classic kind of looking race bike. So I don't know.
I like the colour.
I don't know. The colour's nice, and
I like the badge.
Obviously,
on
it's got the badge, the Ferrari badge.
Has it got a centre stand? Looks like it does.
Yeah, that's the centre stand right there.
Yeah. Do you know what? It's not the most offensive bike we've seen today.
So apparently, okay, this bike isn't really made by Ferrari. Not really.
It's fraud.
Well, okay. Well, it's interesting actually because the article that I've got here actually says that you can't just stick a Ferrari badge on something and expect to not have solicitors and lawyers coming down you on a ton of bricks.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, MB Augusta guru David Kay wrote to Piero Ferrari.
Was that one name? That name you just said a minute ago.
Piero Ferrari.
No, before that.
David Kay.
Oh, I thought. Oh, sorry, ignore me.
MV Augusta, which is a brand.
Right, I thought MV Augusta, David Kay was
No. MV Augusta is a motorcycle brand.
Right, sorry.
And David Kay, who supposedly is a guru in MV Augusta, wrote to Piero Ferrari seeking his permission to build a one-off Ferrari motorcycle in tribute to his father, Enzo, who died a couple of years earlier. And this was made in 1995.
That bike?
This bike, yeah.
Oh, blimey, okay.
So
the look makes sense now.
Yeah, exactly. Piero actually personally approved the construction of this bike. And apparently it took 3,000 hours of work over 4 years. And and was completed in 95.
Does it say how much it cost him to build it? Just out of curiosity.
Okay, so apparently David Kay, that's his name, isn't it? David Kay. Yeah, David Kay. He kept the bike for himself at his house, but then he sold it to a collector. He sold his creation to a collector who subsequently offered for sale at Bonham's auction in Geneva in 2008 with a price tag of £250,000 to £290,000 estimate. But then it actually sold for £85,000. £85,000 sterling. So it's not that valuable of a motorcycle, really. And I mean, technically, this is an MV Augusta. Basically, is what this bike is.
With a Ferrari badge.
With a Ferrari badge. It's not technically a Ferrari badge. However, it was licensed as a Ferrari motorcycle. It's branded as a Ferrari motorcycle. So technically, you could say it is. But at the same time, you could say it isn't. A bit like Dodge Tomahawk. Is it a motorcycle? Is it a car? Who knows?
So it's like the mutt of the motorcycle world.
Basically, yeah.
With you.
Let's have a look here what else it says about this bike. So obviously, being called a 900, it's got a 900cc, 150 horsepower, twin cam, fuel injected engine, which apparently is similar to an MV4 motor. I'm not sure. I'm not that familiar with MV Augusta, so I couldn't really comment on that. But yeah, apparently bodywork is all aluminium. So kind of a lightweight bike, you'd imagine, anyway. And yeah, That's the Ferrari motorcycle. So I thought it was very,
Sort
very
of.
interesting. Sort of, yeah. And remember, this is a one-off
Yeah.
as well.
We won't see that on the streets.
So it's basically a prototype. And yeah, I don't think it's a street bike either.
No. It's another showroom piece, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But then, guess who else has made a motorcycle? So if Ferrari made a motorcycle, who else had to get on in the action?
Porsche.
Not quite.
Aston Martin.
Not quite.
Mustang.
Think Italian?
Oops. Mustang's Ford, so that was wrong. Think Italian. Lamborghini.
Lambo, yes. Lamborghini. Here we go.
Oh, I really hope for this one. Ooh. I like the colour.
So this is a Lamborghini Design 90 is what it's called. And it was made in the 80s. So apparently it was first made in 1986. And apparently during the 80s, Lamborghini were actually struggling quite a lot. Well, during the 70s and 80s, they were struggling a lot, and they got bought out by a couple of brothers, French brothers, who had a sugar empire, supposedly.
It's a great empire to have.
Which is interesting. And yeah, so with that stimulation of cash, Lamborghini decided to build a motorcycle.
I actually quite like it, you know.
Yeah, it does look quite nice. And there's actually another picture a little bit lower down here. That's not it. This one here in red, which does also look nice, but I prefer the yellow.
The yellow looks
personally.
much more striking.
The yellow is more Lambo, isn't it?
That looks like a Lego brick upside down.
Well, that to me kind of looks more like a Ferrari motorcycle because it's red, you know?
Yeah, but
so
if you go back up then to the yellow one, yeah, that's more striking, that.
Yeah. It is a nice looking bike, and I think a lot of it was quite forward thinking in terms of design anyway, with the fully faired look and the sharp edges on around the fairing. It looks quite nice. But yeah, so apparently it's not known how many was made or how many were made, but estimates are between 25 and as many as 50 of these bikes were made. So it's classed more of a production motorcycle than the Ferrari bike was.
But I wonder how many of those are still in circulation.
I don't know. I'm hoping in this article will actually say, but so there's a few details in here about the bike and how it was built, and I'm just trying to get my head around it. So apparently it has a frame that's similar to a 1984 Suzuki GSX-R 750, which is that the same bike your dad used to have?
I don't think there's an R. It's a GSX 750.
GSX. Oh, okay. Well, they might have had the same frame.
He might have had an R, to be fair, 'cause he had two back to back. I'll ask.
Not sure. Okay, and apparently the engine is a Kawasaki Z1000 RX. So it's a bit of a Frankenstein, this motorcycle.
They've taken the influences from the best places.
Yeah, so they've got a frame from Suzuki and they've got an engine from Kawasaki with a design and brand of a fancy
Lambo.
Fancy Lambo, yeah.
So if I out of any of the ones we've seen so far, if I had to get on one and be like, this is going to be reliable and safe, it'd be that one.
Yeah.
Because it's got the backing of Suzuki and Kawi in it.
So apparently back in the day, this bike would have set you back £10,000, which was about double the price of a 1,000 Japanese cc sport bike at the time.
So they were bankrupt or going bankrupt and decided to charge people a lot for a motorbike.
For the time, yeah, that would have been a lot. But it's got Lambo branded on it.
Yeah.
You know? So, apparently not many Lambo kind of people were tempted by this bike. And apparently only 6 were sold.
What, out of the 50 that they potentially made?
Well, they don't know how many were made. That's the thing. They don't know. But it says possibly as few as 6 of these bikes were sold. And one of them is thought to have survived auctions in March 2018 with an 85,000 to 90,000 estimate. Apparently it didn't sell.
Oh.
Which is very interesting. But then again, this is another collector's piece, and I suppose if you're not into Lamborghini, then it might not be a motorcycle that you're interested in. But yeah, Lambo made a motorcycle, and it looks pretty damn good.
Not a bad effort, Lambo.
With a good engine and a good frame. Yeah, I think they tried.
Yeah.
They actually tried to make a bike.
A lot of effort's gone into that.
There's not much information here about the performance of it, but obviously if you looked at a Z1000 RX from Kawi from the same period, then you'd probably know what the performance of it roughly would be. But yeah. There's not that much information here about performance or weight or anything like that. But it is certainly a bike to look at. And if you were a collector, it'd be a nice bike to have in your collection.
Yeah, it'd be a nice addition.
All right. Very, very last one. Completely random. But it's a car brand that you know.
Okay.
But it is completely random. I'm going to say Japanese, but I want you to guess the brand.
Toyota.
No.
Yamaha. Oh,
No.
hold on.
The Yamaha make bikes already. They don't make cars. They make bikes.
I know, I got them confused. Mazda.
Mazda.
No.
Mazda made a motorcycle.
Ugh. What's that? Oh, that's like one you have to go at the front and wind it up.
It is. So this is
it's
the
horrible.
1929 Mazda.
You can see why they stick to cars now, can't you? Oh, that's horrible.
It's an old bike. Come on. It's an old bike. It looks better than the first thing that Honda came out with in the 50s.
Yeah, but Honda got better. These guys just gave up.
Yeah, they basically did. So apparently this was a race bike.
What, snail races? Sorry, I really don't like it.
So apparently during the 1920s, motorcycle racing was quite popular in Japan. And Mazda wanted to get in on the action. So they designed this bike. And apparently it was dominated by import machines. So this article here isn't specific about what motorcycle brands were popular at the time. Could be Harleys, to be honest. I'm not sure. But yeah, so let's have a look. So apparently the Mazda Motor Corporation dates back to 1920 when it was called Cork. When it was a cork maker. They made cork.
Like wine corks?
Like wine corks.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a change, isn't it?
And apparently they dropped the name... Well, they dropped cork from their name. Apparently they did... So apparently the manufacturer Mazda was known as Toyo Cork Kogyo Co. Sorry, I'm probably pronouncing that completely wrong. And then so it looks like the very first motor that Mazda did was a motorcycle.
They gave it a good try. But yeah. I don't know what it is.
I'm not sure if there are any other pictures. But
is that Mr. Mazda?
I believe it is. But that is actually what it ended up evolving into. So this was the second attempt from Mazda to produce a motorcycle. It was based off the same concept as their original bike.
It's a car with a boot, a motorbike with a boot, basically.
Yeah, basically.
The Mazda, so I think Mazda Go or Mazda Co.
Mazda Go
was the outgrowth of a motorcycle project that did result in production models. See, that's more appealing to me. It doesn't look as garish. Is that a three-wheeler though? Is that more of a trike?
Yeah, it's a trike, yeah. And apparently these ones at the top here, so 6 prototypes were made. And then 30 production versions of this bike came out the following year, so in 1929.
How many people, if you go back down to our Mazda Go, do you think put their kids in the back of that? And we're just like, hold on.
Who knows?
We're going to the shops.
Who knows? But can you imagine if Mazda actually ended up being one of the Japanese big motorcycle manufacturers? Can you imagine 5 whole manufacturers? I mean, it's incredible enough that Japan... What?
Your chair.
My chair's squeaking a bit. Yeah. It's incredible enough that Japan have 4 of the biggest motorcycle manufacturers in-house. Can you imagine if Mazda was part of that list? That would have been incredible. But anyway, it was not meant to be.
I'm having a brain fart. Kawi, Suzuki, Yamaha. Who's the 4th one? Honda! God, yeah. My car's a Honda, for God's sake.
Yep.
Right. It's been a really long week, guys. Really long week.
Yeah, so apparently these race bike models, 36 of them were built before they switched over to the three-wheeler Mazda Go in 1931. Yeah, it doesn't... Oh, no, excuse me. So, right, hang on. Just looking through this here. So Mazda was known as Toyo Cork Kogyo Co. And they just dropped the name Cork from their title when they started making these bikes. So they were known as Toyo Kogyo until 1984. And that's when they changed the name to Mazda.
Right.
So
it was a Mazda bike, but it wasn't. The company wasn't called Mazda at the time.
No, it didn't have Mazda branded on it. No, but I'm not sure when Mazda started making cars though. I'm assuming it's when they changed their name to Mazda. So Mazda have only really been making cars. No, that can't be right. For 30 years?
Maybe.
No, surely
I like
not.
Mazda.
Don't know. That'll be an interesting thing to look up. Is when Mazda actually started making cars, but that seems too early or too late to be making cars. Because Mazda's quite a big brand over here now. You see a lot of Mazda cars. I had a Mazda before. Wife had a Mazda.
I had a little Mazda.
I had a big Mazda. So
the only thing I'd say about Mazda is that I think they're a little behind the times. My Mazda was a little bit. It didn't have much in it, did it? Really, it's a little Mazda 2, 2014. It didn't have much in it compared to Cause I've got a Civic, and even just in 4 years, the amount that I've got in there is insane.
Yeah.
So yeah. Ooh.
So just before we finish up, we're just going to go into the chat because I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't been looking at the chat all that much this show. So sorry about that, guys. Right. So 125 guy. Hey guys, hope you're both well. Yep, we're both doing all right.
We are.
Yeah, no dramas this week.
No drama llamas.
Yeah, doing all right. Nick says, have you both seen Derek?
No, it's on my list.
This is when we were talking about Afterlife.
It's Ricky. It's another Ricky Gervais show.
Another Gervais show, yeah.
Ricky Gervais.
Yeah.
Sounds weird when you say his surname. Yeah, no, we'll add it. I think it's definitely on our watch list. I think we're on Turner and Hooch at the moment, then Boba Fett, and then that will be next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 125 guy, Afterlife will make your eyes leak a lot.
Yeah, like you've been cutting onions.
I can imagine that just from watching the first season. So I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of it. But apparently 125 guy's got to go back to work. So
Boo.
So we'll catch you later on. 125 guy, thanks for coming along to today's show. Really appreciate it. So, Dope Style Gaming, good to see you back again as well. Imagine losing a superbike off the dealership for speeding. Yeah, imagine that. That's when we were talking about the Danish confiscation laws.
And the poor man is Lambo.
Yeah. Dear oh dear, that would be horrible. Lone Wolf UK, Dodge making a wild-looking motorcycle. Yeah, pretty much. But then again, yeah, we're not entirely sure if you could class it as a motorcycle, but there we go.
Jury's out on that.
We'll leave that up to you guys to discuss in the comments. Lone Wolf UK just popped in to say hi. I have a company at the moment. Didn't want to appear rude. Hopefully catch up with you guys later. Thank you very much. No, don't you worry about it, Lone Wolf. I get that everyone's got their own lives and things to sort out, and I mean, unfortunately, we don't. This is the only time in the week we basically get to do this show. So, it's. I don't know. It is what it is, but yeah, I'm glad you popped in.
Yeah, I can always watch it back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Dope Style Gaming, waiting for the Aston Martin motorcycle. Okay, so interestingly, when I was kind of doing some research around this topic, there's a load of articles about kind of what car manufacturers could potentially do. So these are imagined motorcycles that car manufacturers do, and they had some really cool ones. So Aston Martin was in there, Bugatti was in there, and they're basically like concept art of what their bikes could have looked like, and it looked really cool, to be fair. And the one article that stood out was Aston Martin making a cafe racer motorcycle, which I thought was quite a cool looking thing. And I mean, that's the thing, I don't see why these manufacturers couldn't design and make a limited edition motorcycle.
Someone will buy it somewhere.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you've already got the brand, the massive brand behind you, like Aston Martin,
you've got that reputation built up already.
You're going to sell the bike.
Yeah.
So, and also, yeah, if you saw one from Jaguar or something like that, that'd be pretty sick. That'd be pretty sweet. But yeah, so there's
the Jaguar thing that used to be on the front, like the emblem on the front of the cars, have that sticking out the handlebars.
No, yes, but also the concept art that they had on this one article was actually the bike. So, like fairing on a bike, the fairing was the shape of a Jaguar.
See, that'd be neat, wouldn't it?
And the handlebars came out the top of like its shoulders.
Marvel can make a Black Panther bike.
Black Panther bike.
Sorted.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Let's have a look here. Riptide V10, thank you for your comments. Unfortunately, I'm not sure which motorcycle you're referring to there, but the rear lines look weird to me. One of a kind, though. I'm assuming that's one of the motorcycles. Perhaps the Lambo? I don't know.
Most of them look weird to me, to be honest with you.
Dope Style Gaming, I thought the only Lamborghini motorcycle was the Ducati Diavol X Lambo. I've not actually heard of that bike. I'm going to have to research that. Because also as well, Porsche made a motorcycle, but they didn't really. It was actually a Harley Davidson, but it had a Porsche engine, and it had a lot of the internal bits were made by Porsche, and I think Harley just provided the frame and maybe I don't know, some of the design elements, I'm not sure. But yeah, so you get some weird kind of amalgamation motorcycles where certain brands will take the credit for it when it's not actually, it's not branded Porsche, it's branded Harley Davidson. So
no. It's a Harley then, isn't it?
It's a Harley. It's a Harley made with a Porsche engine.
Because you wouldn't look at it and go, that's not a Harley. If it's got a Harley badge on it, you go, that's a Harley.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, interesting concept as well. I could have put it in that list actually as well. I didn't think about it because technically, yeah, Porsche helped make it. But Riptide V10, that first picture still looks like the modern Japanese flat track bike. Again, I'm trying to think which one you're referring to there. I'm assuming it's the Mazda. Let's have a look here. Let's see if we can open that one up again. So I think it's that one you're referring to. Not sure. Or maybe not. Yeah, not sure about that one, Riptide. Sorry about that. But yeah, it's I mean, we've spoken about the design of this bike already, and I don't know about you, but the design of motorcycles didn't change for a long time. They were basically designed like this, and they stayed like that until at least the 50s, maybe even later than that.
Can I ask a question? I don't know if it's because I'm not wearing my glasses or if this picture's not very good. Where are the handlebars?
Oh, they're on there. They're on there. Hang on. See if I can find
on the
this
Mazda
other.
Go, I can see it.
So those are the handlebars, because I mean, the front end of this bike is basically the same, but
right. I just couldn't see them on the other picture. If you go back up, I might be able to see them now.
The picture
Yeah.
from our end is looking a bit small, so yeah, you might not be able to see them, but they're about there,
Right.
like classic looking handlebars,
Okay.
classic ones.
Cool.
Yeah, that picture doesn't really give you that much depth, or what have you.
Mm.
So, but yeah, I don't know. You look at all motorcycles from early 1900s all the way until 1950s, and a lot of them look like that. So, yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. Let's have a look here. Honda is a big boy in both cars and bikes. Riptide, yes, they are. Arguably, they make the best bikes. Arguably, they make the best cars too.
I love my car.
The wife here has a Honda Civic, and yeah, of course, I used to have the CBR 600RR as well.
I mean, my history of cars, I haven't had a license very long, really. I've only had it about 4 years. But this is my best car by far.
It's a really, really nice
car.
car.
I love it.
Really, really nice car. They're built really, really well. And I mean, some people say that Honda, like technology is kind of a bit older. They're not as innovative as some of the other brands might be, and to an extent, I think that's true. I'm trying to think of so valve adjustments inside an engine. In Hondas, you still have to do valve adjustments in kind of an old-fashioned way in their cars. Now, in motorcycles, it's quite common to have this same mechanism in motorcycles, but in cars, a lot of manufacturers have moved away from the way how you adjust the valves or the valve timing. So, yeah, I suppose in a way you could say that, but I don't know. In another sense, you could say it's tried and tested. You know, they keep their design simple.
I fix what ain't broke.
Well, exactly. I mean, I did find it very interesting though, because your car, it's a Honda Civic, it's a 1 litre, it's a turbocharged 1 litre, but it's a 3-cylinder, which you don't see that often in cars. It's the only car that I know of that has got 3 cylinders, and you can hear it. You can hear that it's a 3-cylinder, but runs great. Yeah, has 120, 130 horsepower, something like that, which is quite a lot for a little itty bitty 1 litre. I mean, my ZZR 1400's got a bigger engine than your car does. So, well, bigger engine volume anyway.
But I love my car.
But yeah, it's a very, very good car. Very, very good car. And they make fantastic bikes as well. So, anyway, guys and gals, I think we're going to leave the show here for you today. Thank you ever so much for tuning in and for your engagement, leaving those likes, leaving those comments, putting your thoughts in the chat. I love to see it. Love to hear what you guys think. And I don't really know what else to say, to be honest. Have you got any closing remarks, wifey?
We appreciate you. I think that's all there's left to say, really.
Yeah, absolutely,
we appreciate
guys.
you coming back every week and listening to us talk about things.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. Just, overwhelmed by it all, really.
Yeah, and I hope you're all doing well as well. And we appreciate asking how we're doing and what have you.
The dog's just woken up, as you can see.
You see him yawning in the background there.
I think he's waiting for dinner.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you ever so much for watching today, guys and gals. Really appreciate it. And yeah, hope you have a good weekend this weekend. We'll catch you all in the next one. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye. Oh, there he goes again.
I'm hoping